Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is soloing the Stalker with Dark Phantom. We're almost level 37. We should get there today. We'll be changing out some of our enhancements, but not the ones that are IOs because they don't expire. And today, what I'd like to talk about as we go is why Stalkers are great. So I saw a video like there are some videos out there like top 10 reasons to play a blaster, top 10 reasons to play a stalker, to play a scrapper, dominator. I don't know if there's a stalker one, there probably is, but I'm going to give my top 10 reasons. If you've been listening to my videos, you probably won't be surprised at any of these, but I'm going to give my top 10 reasons why stalkers are great to play. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say that you or anyone else should play one, because whether you should is really up to you, depending on what kind of playstyle you like. But I definitely like playing Stalkers, and I'm going to give you my top 10 reasons. So, um, these aren't in any particular order, they're just in the order that I thought of them, although I feel like the last one really should be last, just because of what it is. So hopefully that'll all make sense. But reason number one is aggro avoidance. Stalkers can avoid, not all, as we saw, Rick D. drones can see through hide, but hiding avoids 99% of the aggro in the game. I was able to go into Craze Folly at level like 27 when it's a level 30 plus hazard zone and get all the Explorer badges, and nobody saw me. And so that's just awesome that you can avoid 99% of the aggro whenever you want. And that leads to some of the other ones. Number two is you can stalk missions. If this one is one we can't because it says defeat all, but if this is just a mission where you have to click on 3 or 4 glowies, I could ignore every fight if I wanted to and just go click the glowies. If I just want to fight the main boss because you have to defeat the boss, I could do that, right? And so you get to choose to do that, which you really can't for most other archetypes because you'd have to walk through a tight room and fight everybody in that room. It's just that with Stalkers, you don't have to do that. So you get to avoid aggro, that's number one. And number two is, thanks to avoiding aggro, you can stalk missions and ignore whatever fights you don't feel like fighting. Which means if you want to just get through the mission quickly for some reason, like it's happened with me a couple times where I've said you guys are going to have to stalk this mission because I need to go, right? I need to stop soon. And so we just need to be quick about it. Then I've been able to do that, and you can really only do that with a Stalker. The third one, also related to the fact that you can avoid 99% of the aggro in missions, well, anywhere, is you get to decide when and where and whom you fight, right? So I can choose, who do I start with? Who do I end with? Do I want to hit this guy first, this guy first, this guy first, or none of them? I choose when the fight starts. I choose who gets hit first. I choose who gets hit second. And although you can choose who to target first as a scrapper or a brute or a dominator, you can't always start the fight on your terms. You start every fight on your term. So you can avoid 99% of the aggro. Unless you want to fight, you don't have to. You can stalk missions and ignore fights if you don't want to get into fights and just click the glowies and defeat the bosses, the named bosses. And there's an episode, if you go back a little bit, one of these episodes where you're in the troll tunnels or whatever, and you have to fight 5 bosses. And I said, I'm just going to fight the 5 bosses. I'm not going to fight the other guys, right? So that's awesome. Number 4 is you can one-shot problematic enemies. So Malta Sappers we haven't seen yet, Raider Engineers, that vampire guy, anybody who has some sort of a problematic power, Rick-D Guardians so that they don't shield somebody, Rick-D Communications Officers so that they don't summon people, right? I can decide to hit and assassinate the enemies that are the most frustrating and annoying, and I therefore don't have to deal with them as much. Now, it's never going to be 100% because you might miss on Assassin Strike, or you might not have build up ready, so you can't completely one-shot them, or if you're fighting them at +3 or 4, they might have too much HP to just one-shot them, that kind of thing. But there are so many times when a problematic enemy just isn't a problem for me because I can decide to hit the annoying one first and take them out before they can be annoying. So that's another thing that's really awesome. Number 5 is you get a big lead in fights against bosses and elite bosses. By doing a built-up assassin strike, you can immediately jump out into like a lead where you're basically starting the fight where they're at half hit points, or 60% of their hit points, which makes it much easier. So that's really awesome. That's number 5, right? So number 1, they avoid 99% of aggro. Number 2, they can stalk missions. Number 3, they choose when and where to fight and with whom. Number 4, they one-shot problematic mobs. And number 5, they get big leads on bosses and elite bosses. You'll see this a little bit with this +2 lieutenant here. I'm not going to one-shot him, but I jump out to such, well, I did one-shot him. You jump out to such a big lead, even if you can't one-shot them, that you can just finish them off in a second or third strike, and they never get a chance to do all of those things where they hit back at you. That's number 5. Number 6 is placate. So when when you get swarmed and enemies are attacking you and you weren't ready for them and stuff, you can back up, make sure you get them all in your AoE, and then placate them. Right? And then all of a sudden they de-aggro to you, and that allows you to get off a second assassin strike. Which, if you combine it with the thing about the elite bosses and stuff, you can do this to an elite boss. You can assassin strike him, take off a third of his hit points, and then punch him a little bit more, and then assassin strike him again. How do I get out of here? Assassin strike him again, and then take off more of his hit points. Right? And now he's just sitting there with a sliver left, which is super awesome. So number 6, placate. Great power. Very, very useful. Number 7, they have solid single target DPS, right? They do a really good job with single target damage per second. They do a fantastic job with that, and there's pretty much equal to any other class, including brutes and scrappers, in doing damage to one target. Now, they're not great at taking out swarms, but they're really good at single target damage, which makes them great against lieutenants, bosses, purple guys, and stuff like that. So that's number 7. Number 8, because of all these things and more, they're amazing soloing characters. They're super great to solo with, so if you want to solo, my feeling is you can't do any better than a Stalker. They are fantastic to solo because they can control aggro, they can stalk missions, they can delete bosses and elite bosses really easily. They can click the glowies without being seen and all the rest of it. Now, I don't mean it doesn't reveal you when you click. I mean you can get to the glowies without being seen. We're going to have to hit reveal here because I don't know where the rest of this base is. Okay, up there. I missed that little bit. Yeah, being a Stalker doesn't stop me from being inobservant. Then number 9, I don't know if this is a pro or a con for most people, but for me it's a major pro. There's no need for sets to make this character effective. They can fight +3 enemies just with SOs. And that is pretty good, and not all archetypes can do that. Okay, what? Who am I missing? And then number 10, I just think Stalkers are fun. Alright, so somewhere in here, there must be somebody that I didn't see. Here. Okay. Didn't come all the way up here. So yeah, those are my 10 reasons why I think Stalkers are awesome and fun to play. Now I have 10 reasons. I could probably do 10 reasons for Scrappers and for Brutes, and probably for Dominators too, because Dominators are pretty cool. But this is a Stalker we're doing, so that's my 10 reasons. Right, so to summarize, they can avoid 99% of aggro, they can stalk missions, they can choose when and where and who to fight, they can one-shot problem enemies, they can get a big lead on bosses and elite bosses, they have placate, which is a great thing to use when you get accidentally swarmed. They're amazing at single target DPS, equal to Scrappers. They're really good at soloing. You don't need sets for them to be effective, so you just fine on generic IOs or SOs, and because of all these things, they're just fun to play. Now we need to find Dr. Snyder, and that's going to be in Founders Falls. So let's teleport to Founders Falls. Oh, keeps forgetting to switch to Super Jump. And we're very, very close now to hitting level 37, and then some part of this episode will just be devoted to upgrading our stuff. Before we hit the upgrade button, which I just did a quick check of it to ballpark it, it looks like it'll take about 900,000 to upgrade, which is a lot less than the 1 point something or other million it took us before, because now we don't have so many SOs to upgrade. But before we do that, we're going to be ripping out some of the SOs and replacing them with some generic IOs that I have crafted. There's some damages and stuff. Some of them are level 40, so I can't put them in yet, and so I just have left everything. There are some level 35s I could have already replaced, but I just kind of left everything, and we'll do it all at once. All right, now here, what we want to do is hit this Headman Gunman really fast, because otherwise the Guardian is going to buff him, because I don't think I'll be able to one-shot him. They have a little bit of resistance. Yeah, he buffed him. Too fast, but that's okay. And that guy's going to see me. So this is the one of the few, I think there are a couple other, but one of the few enemies in the game. Wait, Scrapper's rule. Ignore the drone until you beat everybody else. The drones are pointless. The only thing they can do is detect me. They can't actually hurt me. And they, quote-unquote, drain my endurance because it takes so many shots to hit them. And that took him out. And we are very close now, right? Oh, 3,000 XP to go. We can get that from a single lieutenant. So this is one of the things, fighting... What? Why are these guys white cons? Okay, we're just fighting the doctor, so I'm ignoring white cons. Like, they're not even worth my time. I don't know why there are white cons over there. What did I do wrong there? Well, what I should have done was walk through the door and made sure there wasn't anybody on this side, but apparently there wasn't. Just to make sure it wasn't somebody annoying like a communications officer. I'm going to reveal myself to this guy, and then I'll just go fight them this way, because I know the drone's going to see me. And there's the level up, guys. We are now level 37. So we're going to crush this mission. It's going to make all of our 2 hits go up, right? We can't really check it now because we're under the buff, but it's going to make all of our 2 hits go up. And probably if I was smart, I would have stalked through the mission, gotten the level up right before we fought the boss, and used the level up buffs for the boss. But since the boss is going to be 1 level lower, assuming there's a boss in here, it doesn't really matter. This guy's 39. He would have been +3, but now he's +2. Yeah, so I was thinking about the future. I don't know if we're going to get Touch of Fear, actually, much as I'd like it. Because I think next level we're getting focused accuracy, and then after that we're probably going to get the I-beam so I can deal with runners. Although I have to say maybe, maybe not. I want to get this off my bar, but maybe not. Because I haven't had to deal with runners that much lately, and we do have Midnight Grasp, which stops them in their tracks. So I don't know. Um, I'll have to think about it. I then also definitely want to get the Physical Perfection or whatever it is that is like a health and stamina, a combined weak version of health and stamina, and if possible, at least triple slot that for endurance. So and that plus endurance reducers on focused accuracy um, will kind of negate the massive endurance drain of focused accuracy. So I don't know. But if we're do all of that right, if we have focused accuracy at 38 and I beams say at 41 and physical perfection at 44, that only gives us 47 and 49 for the last couple powers. I guess we could get Touch of Fear at 47 or 49 at that point. But there's also increased endurance, like your endurance goes up by 5 or something for one of the powers. So we could do that too. Like, I'm just going to have to think about it. But we're absolutely going to get focused accuracy. See, that's a runner. And that's a guy I'd like to shoot I-beams at. I'm so glad that Shadow Maul works on those guys. And that we have enhanced Shadow Maul for damage. So that we can actually do something to them. There's another drone. So what you may be noticing is I'm not bothering to do Assassin's Eclipse. I'm still technically under hide when they shoot at me. If they don't do damage, it would try to assassinate, and it might work. But if they hit me while I'm doing the animation, it just interrupts it. So when I know I'm going to be detected, I just basically start attacking and don't worry about it. Drone's still attacking me? Yeah. Okay. We're still looking for Dr. Snyder. I hear a glowy. That's not good. That makes me think he's a body. Oh wait, don't assassinate. Well, that's fine. Okay, it worked. He didn't hit me, the drone, but so what's happening is if you're still hidden, even though they see you, you can still go through that animation. But because they can see you, they can also interrupt it. So it's really not worth it to me. Shadow Maul has become very reliable for me when we're fighting these stupid drones. That's a great argument for making sure you have a recharge on that power, so that if it becomes a power that's really important for you to use, because that's the one that hits or whatever, it's totally worth making sure that it recharges. We were talking about that in the last episode. Okay, I don't see any bosses here, so we'll head on out. So Schneider's dead. We found his body. His pager. Okay, we didn't find his pager. We found body. He found his pager. Okay. So we're going to leave the story arc here. And we're going to head to the base. Where am I here? This way. Which I guess we'll get to... Where is the base portal in this zone? They moved it, didn't they? Yeah, I think at one point it was near the train station. I think originally wasn't it in Williams Square? But now it's by the university. We don't need that. So let's head to our base. And we will sell the stuff we don't need and make whatever recipes we can that we might need. So let's see what we got here. We don't need any of this. This is accurate to hit debuff. Probably don't need that. We'll see if it's worth money, but probably not. Those sorts of things usually aren't. See if there's anything that we need to make. Damage. Okay, we need iron. No idea where that is, but we'll look for it. There it is. Take 2. And it should be enough. So we'll make our damage. And we can already use that. So let's see what we need here. We have 2 defense buffs. We have 4 damages we can use. We have several accuracies we can use. I don't think we need endurance reduction. We have those. And we have those. And the other thing we need to do, of course, which I didn't do yet, is visit the trainer and level up. So let's do that. Let's go to Alice Park. It's the quickest. Actually, Talus Island's quickest, right? Because they're right there at the train station. But that's fine. We'll do Alice Park. I still really miss Galaxy City. Back Alley Brawler, I think, used to be the guy in Galaxy City, right? And they moved him here to Alice Park. He's back there now. But I think he originally was in Galaxy City, was he not? Because it wasn't Galaxy Girl. She was dead and they had a statue to her. Okay, so we're going to finish Energize. It's 6 slotted now. Do I want to finish Siphon Life? Do I want to move up Shadow Punch? Do I want to move up Midnight Grasp? I think we could use an Endurance Reducer on Midnight Grasp. And then I am going to punch up Siphon Life. So now if we look at this, I need an Endurance Reducer, so we're going to have to go back. So we have damage. We don't need the damage. We need heal. We have 2 heals. One's going to go right there. And one is going to go right there. So now we will do 141 every time we do this of healing instead of 102, which is good. And then the last one we do, it'll be around 180, which is pretty nice. All right. Then what we want to do is, let's go back to the base, because I actually do need an endurance reducer. And we have a bunch. So we'll go grab one. Because Midnight Grasp is using quite a bit of endurance. So let's go ahead and fix that. Oh, and we have recharge. Let's grab 2 of those. Don't we have... Yeah, we got a level 40 endurance reducer. We'll grab that. Okay. May as well get the best ones, right? So the level 30s are 34% reduction. The level 35s are 36% reduction. And the level 40s are 38% reduction, which is pretty nice. And that's going to reduce Midnight Grasp from 12 to about 8. That's pretty good. We don't actually need the resist damage because we've already done that, so that's good. I didn't realize that. Now we need a recharge. We need several recharges. We have 2. So let's replace Placate and Build Up. So Build Up is now in 45 seconds, guys. We have it as fast as it can go. And then we have some defense buffs, so let's go ahead and... I like to keep things kind of, shall we say, even. I'm like Monk from the TV show, so we'll go ahead and do that. And then for the damage, let's put the level 40 damages in here. right? Because they do a little bit more. And there's another 40. All right, so that's about as good as we can get. Right, we've maxed it completely out. Plus 97%. And then we have a level 35 damage that we can sneak in here. And then accuracy. I thought we needed more accuracy, but I guess we don't. We just need it in Disrupt. Our accuracy is done. We don't need any more. So guys, now we have most of our character with IOs. Just get all these in the same tray because I got to put them back. And now what we can do is just upgrade the remaining stuff, which is only going to cost about 500,000, no problem. And now we are fully prepared for the next 3 or 4 levels. And hopefully as we get these heals and some more recharges and some damage, we'll get these slotted in. And I don't know if we're going to find jumps. Those are really rare. So the ones that we're probably going to have to buy are going to be the 2 jumps and the 3 endurance mods. The rest of them should come in naturally as we find recipes, but so far, in the entire time I've adventured, right, I have found 8 damage enhancement recipes. I have found like 12 accuracies. I've found a bunch of resists and damage buffs and some heals and stuff, but I have only found 1 endurance mod and 0 jump mods. So they're much, for whatever reason, they're much rarer. I don't know why. So we can put these back. And our character is looking pretty good now, I think. I'm pretty happy with this. We're finished on this side for the time being, so our next power will probably be the focused accuracy, and then our next set of slots will probably finish Siphon Life. We'll probably add a damage to Midnight Grasp and maybe add an extra slot to focused accuracy so that we can put, for now, probably double endurance reduction on it. Eventually we're going to be putting 2 hit debuff on it, but it's a very endurance intensive power. So we want to make sure that we account for that. All right. So let's do one more mission and we'll see how we perform with our new enhancements. Hang on. Let's call our contact and find out where we're going first. Sheridan is sending us to Talos Island. One of my favorite zones in the game. So when I select the task, you don't really have to do that when you're solo. Whichever task you walk into becomes selected, but when you're in a group, you want to select it because that allows you to show it to the group. All right, so where do I want to go to fight Richte? Oh, right here. Getting ambushed. Excellent. Hi, Guardian. And then an annoying drone. Let's go ahead and just use a little bit of an accuracy buff here and deal with it. This might be one of these things where I just have to alternate Assassin Strike and Shadow Maul against these guys because those are the highest accuracy attacks I have. You can see it's still only 46%. The Shadow Maul is an AoE and they don't have AoE defense, I guess. 18 more Richte to go. So where do I want to fight Richte? There's a bunch of them in Craze Folly, aren't there? Let's go there. If it's a hazard zone, I'm going to have to find them there. But let's pop in there. If not, we can come out and go to Founders Falls. I don't think they're in Brickstown. But I'm trying to remember. Aren't they down? I feel like they used to be down in the south here. Oh, I keep forgetting to switch back to Super Jump. Richte monkeys count for this, so I don't mind finding some Richte monkeys and fighting them. Ah, see? They're super easy, and they will count. Oh, there's more Rikti over here. Yeah, I thought I remembered coming into Craze Folly and fighting a bunch of Rikti, and I feel like this was where I was when I, like, on one of the rooftops here, beating the crap out of Rikti when I said to my supergroup I just love fighting Rikti, and they thought I was joking. See that? Boom, that just took 4 of them out right there. This group is blues, so we can deal with them. Like, let's see, who should we hit first? Conscript, Guardian. Gunman, don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. Guardian, oh, there's 2 Guardians and a drone. This could be annoying, but we'll go ahead. We'll pop that. I'll just queue up an attack, and we'll just bam, and then Shadow Maul. Look at that. I love when they're all together like that, and you can just maul them. You see a bunch of them are deflected because of the Guardian now, which is annoying, but it's fine. Since they're low level, they won't be that hard to hit. I do have buffs against them. Where's the Guardian? You are annoying. There you go. So what are we at? 6 to go? I'm not going to bother with the drone. I'm just leaving him alone. I just want to defeat these guys. Come here. Okay, you, and then the teleporter. You need to be... I don't know if immobilize stops teleport, but let's try it. Okay, that takes care of them. Any more Rikti? No, Cray Protectors. Cray Protectors. There should be some more. Yeah, here we go. Oh, look at this. 3 bosses. Alright, so we're going to have to deal with this guy because he's not going to leave me alone. But yeah, 3 bosses. Now they're white. Oh, they moved. They were all together. Alright, well, let's start with this guy. And we'll see how we do against 3 bosses. God, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's a neighbor of mine. I don't know what the heck is going on, but they must have a defective car alarm or something. And every, like, 20 minutes or so, the car just starts beeping. And then it stops. It was doing it at night. I heard it, like, at 3 in the morning when I got up to go to the bathroom. Like, I don't know why the owner hasn't done something about it. Disconnect it, turn it off, do something, take it to the mechanic. Because it didn't just start happening last night. This has been going on for like 2 or 3 days. I wonder if the owner is out of town and there's some, like, and the battery has died, and so whatever it's using to monitor is malfunctioning. Like, I don't know. But yeah, really annoying. Yeah, I was having trouble sleeping last night. Oh, there's more Rikti. Don't need him now. This is where I was, I think. Yes, I think I was fighting Rikti over here. On these rooftops, like over here and down here. Yeah. Anyway, so I was having trouble sleeping around 5 in the morning. I really didn't want to get up at 5 in the morning. And one of the things that I read some years ago at 4 in the morning when I was having trouble sleeping, and I looked up, like, what do I do if I'm having trouble sleeping? There was a sleep specialist doctor who said one of the things you shouldn't do is lay in bed trying to go back to sleep, because if you stay in bed and you're awake and you don't get back to sleep, you're essentially training your brain and your body not to sleep in bed. So he said, if you're going to be unable to sleep, get up and go someplace else to try to sleep. Go sleep on the couch in the living room, sleep on the floor next to the bed, sleep on an armchair, sleep in a rocking chair, sleep on a cot somewhere. Go someplace else. And this way, if you don't fall back to sleep, at least you're training your brain not to sleep on the couch or the cot or the sofa or the love seat or whatever, and you're not training your brain to not sleep in bed. Because he said what happens is if you do that enough, then you're never going to sleep in bed because you've trained your brain not to do that. So when I wake up and I can't fall back to sleep, which I usually can, but when I wake up and I can't fall back to sleep, and my mind starts, usually what happens if it's early in the morning, I'm fine, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, but if it's after 4:30, I don't know, my brain just kicks in and I just can't turn it off, and I just start thinking about my day or whatever. And now today's the first day of classes, which I'm going to go in for. I have to have some brunch and then go in a little bit, but I thought I'd play some COH first. I was just thinking about, my first day of classes and stuff like that, and so I couldn't get back to sleep, but so I came downstairs. I went downstairs to my front room, which is kind of a sitting room, and that room has a really comfy armchair and ottoman that I often fall asleep on, that when I'm reading, so I know it's conducive to sleep. This is going to be a long mission. Let's stalk it. Let's find Dr. Schneider and kill our way back to the entrance, because I assume we're going to have to lead him out. And then we'll just take out the guys we have to take out on the way. Anyway, so because I was unable to sleep, I came downstairs and went into my front room and went to sleep on that comfy armchair. And this is actually dangerous. If there's drones here, I'm going to be seen, right? I heard that horn honking because it's out toward the front of my... Oh no, advanced drone. Okay, so that's them. That's him. He's right there. Okay, so that tells me where I have to defeat. So we don't have to go down this way. We don't have to go over this way or over this way. We just have to defeat to the path, I think. So we're just going to follow the path out, and then we'll come get him. That's not a guardian. Chief Mentalist. These guys were terrifying to my supergroup, who didn't have Mez defense back in the day, because there was no Mez defense for anybody but scrappers and tanks. So I do want to say a couple of times I have said this is in the days before Mez defense. What I mean is break free and some of the other powers, like pool powers and stuff, that epic powers and stuff, that now allow blasters and defenders and controllers to have Mez defense on themselves. Right, defenders and sometimes controllers could put Mez defense on other people, but they couldn't put Mez defense on themselves. Right, so there was no break free. Also, and I've explained this before, I'm pretty sure, in those days, they not only was there no break free, but Mezes were complete. That is to say, if you got hit with a Mez, you were hit with the Mez. Nowadays, if you're a blaster, probably even if you're a scrapper and you don't, if you're a scrapper and you don't have your Mez defense on, there are some of your default attacks, you can still get them to work. And if I turn off this energy shield and get mezzed by this Richty, I don't think it'll drop my toggles. But in the old days, Mez completely dropped every one of your toggles. It's one of the reasons I always said Practice Brawler was a superior Mez defense to all other defenses, because Practice Brawler was a click power. And if you made it perma, right, if your Mez defense got overwhelmed with Practice Brawler, since it was a click power, it was still on. You still had 8.8% protection against other Mezes that came in later. Whereas with this thing, if I get mezzed and this gets turned off, I have no mez defense. And I'd seen a lot of tankers and scrappers complain that, you know, they would get owned if they if their mez defense got overwhelmed. Practice Brawler would stay up. It's still protecting you against future mezzes. And so that's why I liked it. Now I think that benefit is no longer true, which is why on one of the servers, and I can't remember if it's here or Rebirth, they changed Practice Brawler to be a toggle because there's no longer a benefit to it being a click power, because I think when you get mez, the toggle stays on, and so it keeps protecting you. Alright, so mez has been dramatically weakened, at least for enemies. I guess it hasn't been for the players. I don't know, though. Those of you who are playing mez-based classes, you can tell me if those got nerfed too. But I don't think so, having played Dominators. I don't feel like when I mez the enemies that they can still do things to me. But the players can. Player characters. Also, I want to point out, in some previous videos I was talking about the villains can't do this to you and the villains can't do that to you. I'm not talking about PvP, and I'm not talking about City of Villains. I'm talking about these guys, NPCs, right? Because I'm playing a hero, to me, all the villains, all the NPCs are villains, right? So I call them villains when I mean NPCs sometimes. So I just keep that in mind too. I don't know if I posted those. I don't know if people have made comments, but there's some guys up here. I want to get them just in case. They shouldn't aggro down to us, but in case something happens, we'll make sure that we get rid of them. Yeah, one of the things I was thinking about when I woke up, which I don't know why I started thinking about it, except that I kind of thought about it last night. So I had a student last semester who got legitimately sick with a doctor's note, like she was actually sick the day before her final exam, 2 days before, and the doctor told her to stay out for a while. And I don't even remember what it was that she had. I don't know if they told us. But anyway, it was the last day of finals, so I couldn't really give her a makeup. So I had to give her a course incomplete, which then has to be made up the following semester. And the chair said only allow it if she agrees to take it during the first week of classes. So, so we negotiated a time. She's coming in today. And she gets 2 hours to take this test like everybody else did. So I said, my office hours are 12 to 2. Come in and take it from 12 to 2. And she said, well, do I have to use the whole time? Because I have to work at 1:15. Which means she has to leave at like 1 o'clock. Like, well, if you only want to take an hour for a 2-hour final, that's up to you, honey. Right? So I said, you can do whatever you want. Most students didn't take the whole time. But I told her you have it if you want it. So, oh, is there a... Oh, I thought maybe there was a communications officer there. I just didn't want a flood of enemies. Oh, Guardian, you need to die. So then I looked at her grade, right? This young lady has a 65 average in class. All that's left is the final exam. I did some calculations, and technically you can't give incompletes, although we couldn't do anything about it with this student in this circumstance. You can't give incompletes to students who can't pass the course. Technically she can pass the course. Oh, we didn't even need to defeat everybody else. She could pass the course potentially. Look to see if there's a boss. Doesn't look like it. She could pass the course potentially if she gets like an 89 or above on the exam. But I looked at her exam score. She's never gotten over a 65. So now I have a student who's never passed an exam. 2 of her 3 exam scores are below 50. She's never passed an exam, and she's going to rush through the final. And if she doesn't get an A on the final, she's going to get a D in the class or an F anyway. So, yeah. I mean, I couldn't just give her a 0 since she had a doctor's note. But anyway, so I woke up and I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about what's going to happen because I know the chair is going to have a fit, right? She's going to say, what was the point of giving her an incomplete if she gets a D minus anyway, right? We should have just given her a D. Like, yeah, but she had a doctor's note, and you can't just ignore the doctor's note, right? Now, if the student had been sick the week before and missed the first week of finals, because we have like a week and a half, I would have just said, come take it next week and just do a makeup. But because it was the last day of exams and the next day was graduation and then the campus was closed for the holidays, I couldn't really do that. So anyway, it's that kind of silly stuff that I end up thinking about at 4 in the morning when I wake up. And I try to tell myself not to, but I just can't turn it off sometimes. Anyway, I think our character's performing great. I've been very happy with her. And let's just take a quick look at what we're going to do next level. Is 38. Like I said, we're going to, over here, we're going to get focused accuracy. Then at 39, we're going to finish Siphon Life. And we'll do a couple other things, probably one here. And then at 40, maybe we'll finish Midnight Grasp. Why have I been leaving Shadow Punch? Let me explain this. Shadow Punch is the weakest power we have, right? It does 43 damage base versus 100 versus 67 here, 83 here. God knows what with Assassin's Eclipse. Siphon Life we're doing heal with. Midnight Grasp 142. You can only double damage, right? So I know we use this power a lot, but to me, I would rather use my enhancement slots, the few that I have, to double this to 284 rather than doubling this, right? Doubled this is 80 something. Doubled this is 280. We would have to hit 3.5 times, 4 times with this in order to do one of these. Damage per endurance guys. 4 times 3 is 12 endurance. This is 8. Right, so that's kind of my logic. Yes, we could already push this up. And if we'd pushed this up, over the many times I've used it, it would have done a lot more damage. But my feeling is this one is worth it more. A single shot from this will do more than 4 shots of this. And then this one's going to miss one of those times, right? Because of the 2-hit debuffs and everything else. So, yes, of course, if this misses the 1 shot, we lose it all. But, yeah, I'm more likely to do this under Focus Chi because it's a big hit versus this one. So, I don't know. It's just my own personal logic is the powers that I feel like are the most effective I tend to slot the earliest, right? So Shadow Punch is just there to fill in the attack chain. Eventually it'll have 3 damage on it, but it might be in the mid-40s before we get it there. Okay, so that's it. I got to get ready for have breakfast and go to work. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Go ahead and leave your top 10 reasons why you like your favorite archetype in the comments below, and maybe we can talk about that in a future episode. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been Soloing the Stalker on City of Heroes.